And so Jason starts to pray, and every single thing out of his mouth is a word of love. Everything that he's saying, he's like, I know this about you, and I know this about you, and I know this about you, and I know that you love this. I'm going to bless this, and I'm going to, all this, everything that's coming out of his mouth for like 15 minutes are words of love. And the guy's just staring at him, and I'm staring at the witch, and I'm filming. And as I'm filming, I always know when something's going to be in the movie when the Lord speaks to me while I'm filming. And the Lord spoke to me so clearly, and he said, do you see? I did not come here to pick a fight. I came here to love. And when I understood that, it changed the whole film, because that's when I realized what I was trying to do, which is, have a showdown. That's not what the Lord wants at all. And I don't think he wants it for anybody. He doesn't want to fight with you. He just wants to love you.
And the thing that was overpowering is when the witch took off his hood.
Yeah, Jason said, I want to pray for you now, like an actual prayer of kind of blessing. And he said, hold on, let me uncover my head, because for them it was a sign of respect. And that was one of the most powerful things I think I've ever filmed.
Well, I'll tell you something else that is, the whole film was powerful, but something else that was amazing to me is Darren went with a friend of mine, Jeff Jansen, out to, where in Africa?
In Tanzania.
In Tanzania, and he sees a little tent behind the main tent. And what did you think that tent was
I
for?
thought we were filming a big crusade that Jeff was putting on, and I was there to kind of help him out. And I saw this little white tent, and I thought that it was for the hearing impaired. That's what I thought. And it was not for the hearing impaired.
What was it for?
It was for, well, I found out when we started when the crusade started, and they started carrying all these people who were manifesting the demonic. They started carrying them into this tent, and I said,
that's the deliverance tent.
It's the deliverance tent. And so I remember standing outside of the tent with my camera thinking, am I seriously going to do this? Do I really go into this place? And I dove right in, and
But previous to that, you had a vision that you didn't understand. Tell me about that.
3 days before I left for Tanzania, I was waking up one morning, and I wasn't quite asleep, wasn't quite awake, in that kind of in-between state. And I saw this picture, vision, whatever you want to call it. I saw it very clearly of this woman on the floor kind of screaming and shouting. And then I kind of woke up. And I remember when I went into the tent, I was filming some things, and at one point I looked down and I saw that woman that I had seen in my dream 3 days ago. And so I knew I'm like, I dreamed about this woman. And so I knew exactly where to put the camera, exactly how close of a zoom to get, because I'd seen it all before. And so actually that's one of the first things you see in the movie is this vision that I had 3 days before. At first I thought, is this how God's going to have me do the whole movie? He's going to show me what to film, but it's the only time that ever happened, but it was pretty cool.
There was another thing that really, I saw this film, and there's another thing that I constantly think about this. He went to Thailand. I'd heard about Thailand. There's actually cities that are built around the industry of sex.
Yes, the one that we went to in particular is called Pattaya City. And 40 years ago, it was a little tiny fishing village, and Vietnam hit and became the major stop-off for all the American soldiers. So the whole city is built around prostitution. And
there was a woman that represents the Messiah there, that's there to love all of these people caught up in the sex trade. And she was talking to a man, and the man said, well, look at it this way. The girls are better off than working in the rice fields, working in the bars and being prostitutes. And what did she say?
Well, she says, well, do you want to know what they tell me? Because she goes into these bars and tries to get these women out. And she says, do you want to know what they tell me? They tell me that it would be better if they died today and went to hell than if they continue doing what they're doing. But they have no way to escape, because it's different for the man, because the man is paying them to tell them how wonderful they are and how much they enjoy this. But in reality, they'd rather be in hell. That's how bad it is.
What effect did going to this area, this city that's built around the sex industry, have on you?
Well, it's hard to quantify, like, this spot affected me more than this spot. It's just kind of the whole process of making it was just, for one, it was eye-opening. But two, I didn't realize how dark the world really is. I didn't realize how much it permeates and how powerful it is. But at the same time, I had no idea how much more powerful God's love is and how it can literally obliterate any darkness.
But you really took on quite an activity when he interviewed a woman that was bred from birth to be a bride of Satan. I know that's hard to believe, but when I saw her speaking, I knew she was speaking truth. And some of the things that she did before she became a believer. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this word.
We'll be right back to It's Supernatural. We now return to It's Supernatural.
Hello, Sid Roth here with Darren Wilson, and we're talking about his new film, Furious Love. And in that film, you have some amazing footage of a woman that was bred from birth to be a bride of Satan. But some things happened to her along the way. For instance, she went to curse actually Benny Hinn. Mm-hmm. And what happened?
Yeah, well, it was a big stadium, and they went. She and two friends went in, and basically were kind of in the third level, just throwing curses down at him while he's preaching. And in the middle of his preaching, he stops and he points up at their section, and he says, "You three." She wasn't sure if he said Satanists or devil worshippers. He said, "You three devil worshippers, stop cursing me. I'm a child of God." And immediately their curses rebounded back onto them, and she started to kind of manifest, and she actually had to be carried out of the stadium by her two friends shortly after.
And then there were several of her friends, and one in particular, something horrible happened to her. One of her best friends.
Yeah, it was her best friend, and in the world of extreme kind of Satanism, which is where she lived, I mean, it's not like there's no real loyalty, there's no love, there's nothing. And so this was the only friend she really had. And her friend wanted to get out. She was just sick of everything, of just how dark everything was and how horrible everything was. And they found out, the leaders found out, and they actually beat her to death in front of the woman that I interviewed. And that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, where she says, I have to get out of this.
Okay, so she did leave, and she went to a person that you interviewed that had a ministry to set people free that are possessed by demons. And is it true that when she walked in, she just moved her hand and the door flung open by itself?
Yeah, she said she used to do that all the time. Like where she just, if I wanted that cup, I wouldn't go grab it. I would just kind of like come to her hand. And so, yeah, she walked in and because it was just like by habit. It wasn't like I'm here. It was just by habit she threw the door open.
And what did the woman say?
And the woman took one look at her and she says, I don't think so. I don't think so, babe, is what she actually said. And she basically... They just started the.
And
started
her
the
eyes were all black?
Eyes were pitch black. She said there wasn't any whites in her eyes at all. It was just pitch black.
Okay, how long did it take this top Satanist to be set free with the love and power of God?
Well, once they got the angels to hold her down, about 20 minutes.
You imagine this? One of the top Satanists in the world, 20 minutes? The power of God is furious. But someone that really impressed you was this Philip Mantofa.
Yes.
Tell me about him.
Philip Mantofa, easily the most impressive person I've ever interviewed, been around in my life.